Good day friends, welcome to the lecture series on fixed income securities. In the subject of fundamental of investment, in my last lecture I was talking of fixed income securities, and in the topic of fixed income securities I was talking about the different types of bonds that are being issued in India. So some of the bonds we discussed in our previous lecture. So I'll just go through them and then I'll be discussing the other types of bond which we didn't discuss in my previous lecture. The first is secured and unsecured bonds. Secured bonds, I'm just telling you the crux part, the brief part, because I have already talked about these type of bonds. So secured and unsecured bonds, secured bonds are those bonds against which some assets are being set aside at the time of issue of the bonds. Means they are secured against certain assets. If company, because of some reason or the other, fails to pay the interest and the principal amount, then those assets will be disposed of, and by selling those assets the bondholders will be paid back. On the other hand, just reverse of this, unsecured bonds are those bonds for which no security is being kept aside, no assets is being kept aside at the time of the issue of the bonds. What it means is that secured bonds are more safe for the bondholders, the people who takes this bond. It is always preferable to take secured bond as compared to the unsecured bonds. Then the other type is convertible and non-convertible bonds. Convertible may be fully convertible, convertible may be partially convertible. Convertible means where the portion or the full amount of the bond value, when I say value means the issue price of the bond, that is we call it the par value of the bond, is being converted into equity shares of that very company which is issuing the bonds after a certain period of time which is predetermined. Like if a company issues a bond of 1000 rupees and at the time of issue of the bond it promises to convert these 1000 rupees into 5 equity shares of the company after a period of 5 years. It means that after the 5 years these bonds will be converted into 5 equity shares of the company and the value of the bond will remain zero. Then those shareholders, those bondholders who have subscribed these bonds, they will become the shareholder of the company. It may be fully, it may be partially. Like the company at the time of issue, they may say that out of the 1000 rupees bond, the 600 rupees will be converted into 3 equity shares, that is of rupees 200 each after the period of a certain period, say 5 years, right? And then the remaining portion will remain as a bond. So the bond value will remain 400 rupees after 5 years. After 5 years, the bond, out of the 1000 rupees, 600 will be converted into 3 shares, and the remaining 400 rupees, the bondholders will continue to enjoy the fixed interest which the company has promised. On the other hand, non-convertible bonds are those bonds which are not being converted into equity shares. They remain as a bond as and when the company issues whatever the bond value is. On that bond value, the company continues to pay the coupon rate of interest during the lifetime of the bond. And then comes the zero interest fully convertible bonds. This also I referred in my previous lecture. Zero interest fully convertible bond means on which during the life of the bond no interest is being paid. That's why we call it zero coupon bond. And after a period of time, the bonds are being converted into equity share. You may ask that what is the difference between the convertible and the zero interest fully convertible bonds? Because in the convertible bonds, till the time the bond is being converted into equity share, the company continues to pay the interest. But in the zero interest fully convertible bonds, no interest is being paid during the time when the bond remains as a bond, that is before it is being converted into equity share, no interest is being paid. That is called zero interest fully convertible bond. Then we talk about redeemable and irredeemable bonds. Redeemable bonds are those bonds which are being redeemed after a period of time. Say a company issues a bond of 1000 rupees or 100 rupee for a period of 10 years. So what it means is that after the 10-year period, the price of the bond, that is 100 rupees, which is the par value of the bond, will be redeemed, will be paid back at a predetermined price. It may be redeemed, it may be paid back at the par value, which is 100 in our example. It may be paid back at a premium. Say the company promises that at the time of redemption it will pay rupees 105, so it means that it will be redeemed at a premium of 5 rupees. It may be redeemed at any price which is being determined in the advance as per the SEBI guidelines, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, right? So on the other hand, irredeemable bonds are those bonds which are not redeemed, means they are like perpetual nature. Practically in India, these irredeemable bonds are not being issued. I have not come across many companies or companies which have issued irredeemable bonds, right? And then comes secured premium notes. What they do in the secured premium notes is a detachable warrant is being attached with the bond, that apart from the interest which the company will pay, this warrant on which there is some price which is assigned, that those people who will pay this much money, means the money which is being predetermined at the time of issue of the secured premium note, this price, at this price or the value of the detachable warrant, say a company issues the bond of 1000 rupees and a warrant, and a detachable warrant is being issued, say this warrant carries a price of rupees 500. So those who will be paying 500 rupees, after a period of time, against that warrant a share will be issued, right? That is, what is the benefit to the bondholder? Bondholder will continue to enjoy the interest, fixed interest on the price of the bond. Apart from this, they have also a chance, there is also a scope, and there is, the option is being given to the bondholders that if they desires, then that detachable warrant can be converted into equity share after paying a specific amount that is being determined in advance. Suppose at the time when the time of payment of the warrant comes, payment means the time of conversion of the warrant comes, the equity price at that time is 800 rupees instead of 500 rupees. So the bondholder will not only get the benefit of the fixed interest which the bondholder is getting on the bond value, but there will be a capital profit, there will be a profit of 300 rupees because the market value of the share will be 800 rupees at that point of time, or maybe 800 rupees, and on the other hand the price of the detachable bond is only 500 rupees. So that is, by paying 500 rupees you can get a share of rupees 800 rupees, having a market value of 800 rupees. So this is a charm which the bondholders have always there, and it is on the option of the bondholder to whether to convert this detachable warrant into equity share or not to convert it. Then comes callable and putable bonds. This also, friends, I discussed in my previous lecture, that callable bonds are those bonds on which after a period of time company has a call option to pay back the money. Suppose the bond is being issued for 8 years and company keeps an option that after 3 years, if at the option of the company, if the company so desires, it can pay back the money of the bondholders. Because in a scenario where the rate of interest is falling, suppose the company at the time of issue of the bond is, the company issues the bond of at 12% rate of interest, and if the rate of interest falls over the period of time and after 3 years they realize that now the rate of interest is 9% or 10%, so there is no point for the company's point of view to continue with these bonds, because at current rate they can get the money at 9%. So this type of option can be kept by the company. If this type of bond is being issued, this is called callable bonds. On the other hand, in the putable bonds, it is an option of the bondholders that after a period of time, if the bondholder so desires, right, they can get their money back. Because as I am saying, if the rate of interest falls, so company wants to redeem, company wants to pay back the money. Similarly, if the rate of interest kept rising, so bondholder feels that it is not in their benefit to continue with these bonds, they can get their money back. So this is the option that is being given to the bondholders. So this also, we discussed callable bonds and putable bonds last time. Friends, apart from this, there is a floating rate bonds which I didn't discuss last time, so I'll be talking in detail about this. Floating rate bonds are those bonds on which there is no fixed rate of interest. Normally, when we issue the bonds, there is a fixed rate of interest on which the company promises to pay. That is, if a 1000 rupee bond or a 100 rupee bond is being issued at 8%, it means the company will keep on paying 8% interest on this 1000 rupees. That is, if it is a 100 rupee bond, 8 rupees on an annual basis till it becomes mature, till it is being paid back. But in the floating rate bond, when the rate of interest fluctuates in the market, then company can issue, or company feels, or the issuing authority feels that it is in the benefit of both the issuer party as well as subscriber party, those who takes the bond and those who issues the bond. Instead of fixed rate, this rate is being attached with a particular market rate, with a particular rate. Say for example, bank rate. The company promises that it will give 2.5% plus whatever the bank rate is. As friends, you know, time to time the Government of India, that is the RBI, issues the bank rate, that is determines the bank rate, right? So bank rate, whatever the bank rate is, and as you all aware, that bank rate is the rate at which the commercial banks can discount the securities of its securities with the RBI. Whenever commercial banks need money, so what they do is they approach the central bank of the country, which is RBI, and the rate at which these securities of the commercial banks are being discounted by the Reserve Bank of India, that is the central bank of the country, that rate is called bank rate. So the companies, what they do, they don't fix the rate of interest in advance. They say they will give the rate of interest as per the bank rate plus a predetermined additional rate. Say for example, if the bank rate is 4% and the additional which the company promises is 2.5%. So whatever the bank rate is there at that point of time, at the time of issue of the interest, payment of the interest, so that bank rate plus 2.5% additional interest, that is 6.5% in our example, will be paid by the company. Suppose the bank rate falls, it falls to 3%, then 3% plus 2.5%, that is 5.5%. If the bank rate increases, it increases from 4% to 5%, then 5% plus 2.5% as promised, 7.5% interest will be given by the company to the bondholders. This is called floating rate bonds. Other type of bond that is being issued in India is deep discount bonds. See, it's like zero coupon bond. The zero coupon bonds, they are normally being fully converted, right? So what happens in the deep discount bond? Bonds are being issued at substantially lower price than its maturity price. And these bonds are normally being issued whenever these type of bonds have been issued in India, they have been issued for a very long period of time, say 20 years or 25 years, right? So if you promise that the bond price will be 5,000 rupees and after 25 years, this 5,000 rupees will be converted into 1 lakh rupees, right? So if a bondholder keeps the bond for 25 years, it's just merely an example. So after that 25 years, instead of 5,000 rupees, the bondholders will get the 1 lakh rupees. So it's called deep discount bond. If you ask me what is the value of the bond, I'll say value of the bond is 1 lakh rupees. But this 1 lakh rupees you will be getting after 25 years. So at the time of issue, the company take the payment of rupees 5,000 only from the bondholders. So by taking 5,000 rupees after 25 years or say after 30 years, they'll be giving 1 lakh rupees. So it is called deep discount bond. A bond of 1 lakh rupees is being issued at a price of rupees 5,000 only, and the time span is of say 25 years or 30 years, whatever the terms and conditions are, right? So this is called deep discount bond. In the deep discount bond, no interest outgo from the company's side. That is, no interest is being paid during the lifespan of the bond to the bondholders, right? So a bond is being issued at discount, and at the time of maturity, who will prefer this type of bond? I'll say those those subscribers, those investors who do not want a regular income, right? They think that if this much interest will be getting, it will not much effect on their running income. So instead of that, they should get a big money as lump sum money after a period of time. Supposing a child is being born, the parent of the child feels that when the child will become 25 years, that is when the time of the marriage or these type of things will come, when the time of settlement of the child will come, right? So at that time there should be some reasonable good sum of money that should be available. So if the parents buys these bonds for 25 years or 30 years, right, and then at the time of maturity it will become a big sum of money. This is called deep discount bond. The two qualities are, that is, they are issued at a deep discount of the value of the bond. Secondly, normally these bonds are of long period of time. So the other is called junk bonds. Friends, those who are people who are interested in or who are ready to take very high degree of risk. Junk bonds are those bonds which are not issued by the high quality company, where the element of risk is very high. Means that suppose a company, as you may be aware, or we have also discussed in the past also, there are certain rating agencies which rate the company, like in India, CRISIL, ICRA, CARE. These are various rating agencies which rates the financial instruments. And there are certain companies which are not of very good health, financial health I mean to say, right? So those companies which are of not good financial health, it means there is an element of risk that these companies may fail to make the payment of the interest on a regular basis, or even there may be a situation where they may be failing in paying the maturity amount at the time of redemption, right? So it is a high risk investment. So, but there are certain type of investors who wants a very high degree of or high rate of interest, and for that they are ready to take higher degree of risk. Means high risk, high return. So if you are of certain type of investor who are that type of investor who is ready to take high degree of risk for a high interest, so then these junk bonds are a good investment option, because there is a likelihood that the company may not fail, may not pay to make the payment, company fails to make the payment, right? So these type of investors who are ready to take high risk, but certainly these bonds will give high yield also. So these bonds are high risk, high yield bonds. Due to high risk, these bonds carry high coupon rate. The rate of interest is high, because if the rate of interest is not high, then bond holders will not I'll say holders, the bond subscribers, or those people who want to subscribe, they will not subscribe if the rate of interest is high, because they know it that this bond has been issued by a company which is not very financially sound. So a high degree of risk element is involved. So investors generally do not prefer to invest in these bonds. Only speculators like to trade in these bonds. These are called junk bond. The other type of bond is tax-free bonds. Normally these tax-free bonds are being issued by the government companies, infrastructure companies which have a government backing, right? See, in order to promote infrastructure in the country, the government of India allows certain companies, especially the government companies, to take the money from the bondholders at a fixed rate of interest, on which the interest income that will accrue, that will arise to the bondholders, no tax will be charged from the bondholders. That's why they are called tax-free bonds. That is, the income which you earn, in what form do you earn the income? You earn the income in form of the interest. So this interest which you will be getting on these bonds, it will be tax-free. Especially those people, those subscribers who are in the high tax bracket, they prefer this type of bond, because they want that whatever the interest income they earn, if the income is taxable, then they will have to pay high tax rate, right? Because they are already in the high tax bracket. So in order to avoid this, in order to reduce their tax liability, they prefer tax-free bonds. Means the income that is being earned, that is the income in form of interest that is being earned on these bonds, it will be tax-free. So these bonds are issued by the government enterprises. The interest income received from these bonds is 100% tax-free. There is no tax on the income. Those bonds are generally available for long-term maturity period of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. See, friends, if you recollect in the last time also when we say about the, I was talking about the features of the bond, there is a bond indenture. Bond indenture means bond indenture determines the terms and condition of the issue of the bond. That is, it is like an agreement, the terms and conditions of the agreement between the bondholders who subscribe the bond and the issuing authority. So whatever the maturity period will be, it will be determined at the time of issue of the bond, right? So these the major issue of tax-free bond in India are Power Finance. Means these are the companies which in the past have issued the tax-free Power Finance, Indian Railway Finance Corporation, National Highway Authority of India. So tax-free bonds come with a lock-in period of 10-20, because I already said, I have already spoken about it, the maturity period of these bonds is normally of long duration. So they are 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So amount invested in a tax-free bond cannot be withdrawn before the expiry of applicable lock-in period. So friends, these are the different types of bond which are normally being issued in India. After talking of the different type of bonds that are being issued or different type of bonds that are available, right? Now I'll be talking of bond yield. Yield means, in simple language, as a layman language, yield, I will say yield is the return. Whenever we make an investment, we always see to it that what is the return which I'll be getting of this investment. See, as all of us are aware, that fixed income securities gives a fixed amount of interest, so-called fixed rate of interest, depending on the type of bond. So it gives a fixed income to the bondholders. But it is not necessary that the price at which these bonds are being issued in the market also the bond is available at the same price. That is, there can be a difference between the par value of the bond. Par value of the bond means the price at which the bond is being, we can also call it face value of the bond, and the market price of the bond, right? And when the company issues the interest, gives the interest, it always gives the interest at the par value of the bond. If a company XYZ Limited issues bond of 100 rupees at a 7% interest, it means on this 100 rupee bond, the company will be paying 7 rupees interest on an annual basis. Now, if somebody wants to sell it and the duration is say 8 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the time period duration of the bond is, if during the duration somebody wants to sell these bonds, it is not necessary that the bond will fetch same 100 rupees which he has invested. The bond price, the current bond price in the market may be more than 100 rupees, it may be less than 100 rupees. It depends on the current rate of interest. In the past also I have talked about this. There is an inverse relationship between bond prices and rate of interest. If the rate of interest increases, bond prices decreases. If the rate of interest decreases, the bond prices increases. Means there is an inverse relationship between bond price, when I am saying bond price, it means the current price of the bond, and the rate of interest, right? So what we are interested is that if I invest in a bond, what will be the interest which I'll be, what will be the yield? Yield means what will be the return which I'll be getting on my investment. That return is called bond yield, right? So it may or may not be the same as the coupon rate. Coupon rate is the rate which the company promises to pay at the face value of the bond, right? So I was just talking of 100 rupee bond at 7% interest. It means the face value of the bond is 100 rupee and the coupon rate of interest is 7%. So investors calculate this to make their investment decision. The bond yield is, when I am saying investment decision means What do they calculate? They calculate what will be the yield which they will be getting. So the bond yield is compared with the investor's required rate of return in order to decide whether to buy the bond or not. I'm just referring to this 100 rupee bond of 7% interest. Supposing this bond is available in the market at rupees 95, right? So if the bond of 100 rupees is available in the 95 rupees and the company has promised to give 7% interest, coupon rate of interest is 7%. It means year after year, up till the maturity, company will be paying 7 rupees on a 100 rupee bond. But I as an investor, what I am investing? I am investing only 95 rupees because if the current market, I am presuming the current market price is 95 rupees. So what I am getting is not 7%, more than 7%. So 7 rupees divided by the current market price, that is 95 rupees. So I am getting more than 7%. Supposing if the price of the bond is 105 rupees, the company will continue to pay me 7 rupees. So what I will be getting? 7 rupees divided by 105 into 100 in order to calculate percentage. So it will be less than 7%. So what it means is at the time of investment, we'll have to calculate the yield which an investor, which I as an investor will be getting. This is called bond yield or current yield. So friends, in this very lecture, I have talked about different types of bonds that is being issued, and I have just referred about the bond yield. I will continue to talk about the bond yield in my next lecture also. Thank you.